My apologies for not getting this video out sooner. After all, it's been nearly a week since the news first broke. Anyways, I wanted to give my commentary on this scenario and whether or not Kyle Larson's career is completely screwed. So without further ado, let's get into the featured presentation. April 13th, 2020. Easter Sunday, in fact, a day to get away from all the drama of 2020. You know, things like Ryan Newman nearly dying and a global pandemic currently going on. Little did we know that Kyle Larson would drop an atomic bomb during an iRacing stream that would completely shake up the next 36 hours.
I can see it. You can't hear me? Hey.
And in the 21st century, using a racial slur of any kind results in the mass cancellation of your career. Chip Ganassi suspended him without pay. NASCAR suspended him indefinitely, and he is forced to complete sensitivity training in the near future. The World of Outlaws and iRacing also enforced similar suspensions. Yet the biggest blow came when Credit One Bank, Clover, and McDonald's all terminated their contracts with Kyle Larson. For Chip Ganassi Racing, it was either retain big money or Kyle Larson. And when it comes to the high costs of motorsports, big money won this battle. Kyle Larson, at least for the short term, is cancelled. Personally, Kyle Larson definitely deserved a lot of the fallout he's gotten. When you're a NASCAR driver at the top level, you don't just represent yourself. You represent your race team, the brands on your fire suit, and most importantly, NASCAR as a sports league. Kyle Larson disregarded all of that just to channel his inner Pee-wee middle schooler. And no, this wasn't just a slip-up. This sounded like a common word in his vocabulary. A word that harkens back to a very dark time in history. Absolutely nobody should utter this word, and it is disappointing when it's one of the younger NASCAR drivers to say this. And because of that, congratulations, Kyle Larson, you reverted NASCAR back to the days where Jack Smith tormented Wendell Scott. This has reinvigorated that stereotype that NASCAR and racism go together like ketchup and mustard. Okay, got that out of the way. Now, Kyle Larson did issue an apology on Monday morning. Now, he showed remorse, which was good, but then again, wouldn't you be dejected after potentially losing everything? In order to truly regain respect, Kyle Larson needs to have time on his side. He's already making the right steps, reaching out to Bubba Wallace and Willie T. Ribbs, both of whom have accepted his apology and believe Larson should be granted a second chance. And that begs the question of whether Kyle Larson can repair his career. According to people around him, Larson intends on making a NASCAR comeback. And definitely, when the scenario and the time is right, I definitely think Kyle Larson deserves a chance to redeem himself. One of the rides tossed around is the 14 owned by Tony Stewart. After all, Smoke understands the battles through controversy and has longed to have him race for SHR. But honestly, Kyle Larson doesn't deserve this championship caliber ride for another 2 to 3 years. Considering the amount of damage he's already done, it would be a bad look if he's a prominent star 1 calendar year from now. Kyle Larson is at the very bottom, and it will be a steep uphill battle to get to the top of the mountain. The best places in order to restart his comeback would be on unsponsored teams that aren't competitive. I can definitely see a team like Rickware Racing partaking in his services behind the wheel. Now, the team will get backlash, but his talents outweigh an organization amongst the bottom fourth of the NASCAR grid. If Larson can take an unsponsored 53 car and finish top 30, that will get a lot of the focus off of the controversy and back onto his talent behind the wheel. But then again, his relationship with corporate America could be permanently screwed. I mean, you seriously think any Fortune 500 company would consider sponsoring him ever again? He will be permanently branded with that word to the mainstream eye, no matter how much he changes. And that lack of sponsors willing to invest big money could further keep him on the bottom and possibly out of racing forever. If this is the absolute end for Kyle Larson, he's easily the biggest NASCAR bust since Casey Atwood. A driver once hailed as the next Jeff Gordon has won 6 races. 4 of those wins came in 2017 alone. And I don't want to hear the Ganassi excuse. Their cars have been fairly competitive for the last 2 to 3 years. But even then, nobody's going to remember how he almost beat Kyle Busch in an Xfinity race. Nobody's going to remember the impressive 3 Michigan wins in a row. Nobody will remember how he rimrode the High Line on the mile and a halves. Right now, Kyle Larson's NASCAR legacy is tied to one Sunday night where he decided to be a complete moron. So anyways, this is NRF signing out, and just remember, life's a beach and then you drive.